What is going on, guys? It's the Frontz, and we are here for the Smackdown live review results show. Man, tonight was it was there. You didn't miss much, except for we had three, not just two debuts. We had three debuts, and I will say that the rumors that have been going around about this Women's Royal Rumble seem to be becoming more and more concrete. We will get to that when we get there. But the rest of the show just felt like blah. Like the Raw last night was other than two matches, but tonight just felt like there was something missing as usual. WWE just for a week and a half they actually looked like they cared, and now they don't seem to as much, and it's just where are we going from here? Where are we gonna go from here? SmackDown has Clash of Champions coming up in a few weeks, while Raw has nothing going on through the Royal Rumble. So SmackDown at least should have a little bit more of good storytelling to go. Didn't see much of that tonight, it seemed like, other than the three debuts that we had tonight, which, again, didn't make any sense. Now both shows have three women factions, and I will get to that when we get to it. The show started off with Shane McMahon coming out talking about how he wanted to, he's like how they were so close to winning Survivor Series, and that even though in defeat they proved that they are the show of the night. Shane McMahon calls out Kevin Owens and them. Calls out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for their actions last week and this past Sunday.
It's got to be so hard having to come out here almost every week and start SmackDown Live with yet another excuse about why you failed.
It's seriously got to be exhausting. Let me ask you, Kevin, what do you think is harder for Shane McMahon? Is it harder to come up constantly with new excuses for why you failed? Or is it harder to actually man up and apologize when you were wrong?
Is anyone else loving this Sami Zayn heel turn as much as I am? Because this guy, I was skeptical with Sami Zayn being the good old underdog heel. I mean, that babyface. He's good for. He's just there to. He is the underdog of the underground. He is supposed to be the guy who gets beat down and gets back up. And he turns it 360 and makes it a great thing. I am loving this Sami Zayn heel turn. Even his walk through the ring looking like a complete jack off as he does it is beautiful.
That's a really good question, Sammy. Shane, if I were you, I would be on my hands and knees begging us for forgiveness because you made a fatal mistake by leaving us off Survivor Series. See, because Sammy and I, we can beat anyone on any given night. Unlike the New Day, we would have beaten the Shield.
Doubt it?
Yep.
In a 2-on-5 handicap match, we would have beaten Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, and even Triple H.
Double yup.
And either of us could and would beat Brock Lesnar.
Highly doubt it.
Triple yup.
Just Sami Zayn, I swear.
And tell us that you are sorry.
The two of you have no respect for any superstar in the WWE, let alone anyone on the SmackDown roster. Check. The two of you have no respect for me.
Why would they? The way you've been treating them since they've both been brought over to SmackDown Live, so they have a reason to not respect Shane McMahon because of how they've been treated.
Double check. And the two of you don't have any respect for anyone here tonight. Yeah, triple check.
Wouldn't be doing the job if they did.
I'm going to deliver 2 words to you guys.
No. I see where you're going. So you can't finish that sentence. You can't fire us. You know why? Because we are too valuable to this show.
You guys are the most self-absorbed, crazy megalomaniacs that have ever stepped foot in a WWE ring, period.
So Kevin Owens, please come a little closer. Sami Zayn, I have 2 words, and I'm going to say with great pride right now to you.
All of a sudden, Daniel Bryan's music hits, and he starts coming down to the ring.
Of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn tonight. Like you said, everybody in the back hates their guts. In fact, I personally had to send Randy Orton home because he said he wouldn't be held responsible for
That's why you don't see him at all tonight.
if he saw you tonight. And the New Day are furious that you just left them high and dry when Raw ransacked SmackDown Live last week. So tonight, you guys get a chance to prove that you can beat anybody on any night when the 2 of you face the New Day.
Okay, hang on. No, first of all, that is totally bogus, and it is totally unfair because there is 3 of them, and there's only 2 of us.
Sammy, shut up! Not only will you face the New Day, you will face them in a lumberjack match.
So that's the main event for the night. And may I ask, does anyone know what a good lumberjack match looks like? It's always the 2 or teams in the match wrestle for a bit, throw each other over. The lumberjacks get involved. Lumberjacks end up brawling all over, and in most cases, if it's a heel versus babyface team, which it usually is, or heel versus babyface, the heel wins with a fluky roll-up, which I'm not spoiling anything. We'll see how that goes tonight. Then they were talking. They put a promo up about AJ Styles is going to call out Jinder Mahal tonight. Didn't Michael Cole on Sunday say that Jinder Mahal was getting his title rematch tonight? Which, one, I don't think if it was going to happen, he was going to win the title. You're not going to, like, the formula has always been, and even when, like, the Cruiserweight title has changed hands, how the women's title sometimes change hands. It's, if you win the title at the pay-per-view, you usually win it back on Raw or SmackDown, if they're going to flip-flop the title. If you win the title on SmackDown or Raw, you win the other person wins the title back at the pay-per-view. So if that match would have happened tonight, I don't think Jinder Mahal would have walked out the WWE champion, and I don't think he's going to win the title back again. Let's hope not. Forbid we don't have that. Then we see Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable walking towards gorilla position to get to the ring, because it's going to be Shelton Benjamin versus Jey Uso. So this feud is still going on. This was a so-so match. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin are showing more heel-ish tactics than I'd really like to see. I don't want to see them be the heels. They should be baby faces, but if you want to make them tweeners, I guess it will work for now. Shoulder block by Shelton later in the match, but Jay gets back up with a back elbow. Benjamin with a running knee to Jay when Jay ends up on the outside, on the apron on the outside. He starts climbing up to get back into the ring. Shelton Benjamin comes up with this nasty running knee, knocking him off to the outside as they went to commercial breaks. But of course, Picture in Picture was there. Which does anyone actually really pay attention to the match when Picture in Picture is going on? I would really like someone's opinion on that, because I really don't. It's either I switch to see what game is on if it's Monday, if something's going on, or I check on my Twitter account and maybe tweet something that's happening, or respond to something if somebody says something to me on something I tweeted that night. Back from break, Benjamin is in control, but Jay does get control with a dive to the outside. Oh yeah, Jay was going to dive to the outside. The finish of the match was Jay was going to go for a dive to the outside. Jimmy gets involved after Chad Gable stands between him and Shelton Benjamin. Jimmy gets involved, gets obliterated by Chad Gable. Shelton Benjamin tries to roll up Jey Uso for a 2 count. Jey Uso pops right back up, hits Shelton Benjamin with the super kick for a 2 count. He tries to go up for a Superfly Splash, misses, I believe, Chad Gable, but you really couldn't see because of how bad, because they were doing a replay, I believe, of the super kick at the time with the picture, like the picture-in-picture. So you really didn't get to see Chad Gable get involved. If he did, they said he did, but I really couldn't tell. Misses the Superfly Splash. Shelton Benjamin with the pay dirt for the 1-2-3, and Shelton Benjamin gets the win. These two teams will probably have a proper tag team match at Clash of Champions coming up next month. Zayn and Owens were in the back talking to somebody we couldn't see at the beginning, and talking about how that Shane is suppressing us right now, but he's going to do the same thing to you. Turns out to be Baron Corbin. Corbin tells him, "You're out of your mind. I don't like either one of you. Now you better go find somebody more weak-minded." Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens walking a little bit further on, run into Bobby Roode, try and butter him up, try and get him to turn heel. Which, quite honestly, if they could have got him to agree to something, and we see a slight turn of Bobby Roode, that'd be nice. Babyface Bobby Roode is just not. I'm not feeling babyface Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode as a babyface, even in TNA, was never good Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was at his best when in TNA and in NXT, he was the heel champion, doing everything he could to hold on to his title. That Bobby Roode I miss already, even though it's only been 2 months since he came up from NXT. That Bobby Roode I want to see again. Maybe he wins the U.S. title sometime, from Baron Corbin, or wins the WWE Championship next year, and that's when we get the heel Bobby Roode. He comes out the night out, say he wins it at the night after the week out, he beats John Cena. Say John Cena wins the title at WrestleMania. The next pay-per-view, he loses the title to Bobby Roode. That would be awesome, in my opinion. Bobby Roode comes out the next Tuesday, and just lays into the SmackDown crowd, talking about how it's all been a ruse, how he used them to get his way, how he used them to get the WWE Championship around his waist. Now he's going to do things his way, and he's going to make SmackDown Live his SmackDown Live, and pretty much be the Bobby Roode that we all want. That's wishful thinking on my end, but I would love to see that. And he does tell them, after he runs them down, he owes them both a receipt for their actions at Survivor Series. Unfortunately, he says that he was pretty much offended that they came out and ruined the entire show for SmackDown Live, the entire night, and the match. They ruined the Survivor Series match, even though Bobby Roode was already eliminated for 10 minutes or 15 minutes before they came out and attacked. So I don't even know why they did that. Let's see here. In the back, Naomi is in a one of those little director's chairs, being attended to and having her hair done by the hairstylist, talking about how she was proud to see Charlotte win at Survivor Series, and how bummed she was that she and this women's team on SmackDown lost the Survivor Series. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ruby Riott of NXT comes into focus, talking to her. I believe they have a clip of this. Yes, they do. So Ruby Riott was one of the 3 women to be debuting this time.
But Leslie, I'm still so bummed we didn't beat Raw at Survivor Series. Man, but it did feel really good to see Charlotte defeat Alexa Bliss. Just like she's gonna do Natalya tonight. What do you think?
I think something's going down tonight.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Hey, Naomi. How's it going?
Ruby Riott.
Sure am. Let me go ahead and introduce you to some of my friends.
Along with Liv Morgan.
And Sarah Logan. No. Don't get up.
No, I'm good.
We just came here to say...
They started beating down Naomi. They beat Naomi from pillar to post, and then Becky Lynch out of nowhere comes out, and they started beating her down, and they end up taking a door, getting her in between a door to, I believe, a catering hall or something, and they slammed the door against her. that is not the last time we will see these ladies on this night. Unfortunately, I have a lot to say here in a bit. Then we see Shane and Daniel Bryan talking in the back, and Shane McMahon talking about how Daniel Bryan was a genius for what he did tonight. So, here you go.
Danny, I gotta say, you're making a lot of moves around here. I mean, I was unaware we could bring up some of the women from NXT to join the SmackDown Live roster. I mean, that's awesome. And I have to say that putting Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a lumberjack match, well, that's genius. Now to have a little bit of time to cool off, you know, I see where you're coming from. I could fire those guys anytime I wanted to. But your way, New Day gets a piece of them, and every other member of the SmackDown roster that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens disrespected when they betrayed us at Survivor Series gets to get their piece. And when they're laying there, stains on the mat, I'm assuming, don't tell me yet, I'm assuming that's when you're gonna go and fire them. So everyone's gonna be tuning into this, and I can't wait personally to see it happen. Matter of fact, before I do something drastic, I'm gonna go back to the hotel, I'm gonna kick my feet up, and I'm gonna be watching. So Daniel, have a good night.
Something's up. I feel like something's going to go down between these two before the end of the year. Daniel Bryan is going to end up betraying Shane McMahon somehow. I mean, it just feels like something's going to happen between these two that I don't know. It feels like something's off. Like something with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon is going to lead up to Shane McMahon either losing his commissionership, or I just don't know. It's just something feels odd. Then we had the Bludgeon Brothers make their long-awaited debut in SmackDown. Their long-awaited debut against the Hype Bros. So I really need to tell you how this match went. Bludgeon Brothers started. Well, it was Rowan and I don't even think they're Luke Harper and Eric Rowan anymore. I think they're just Harper and Rowan, which is fine. I don't care. Vince McMahon likes to shorten people's names, so if they want to pay for go by Harper and Rowan, that's fine by me. Match starts out with Rowan and Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley just pretty much gets whipped to the corner. Then Rowan goes over and hits and knocks Zack Ryder off of the corner, off of his side of the corner of the ring. Down, and all of a sudden, Luke Harper is down there waiting, levels Zack Ryder, beats him the holy heck out of him. Then he gets on top. Then it's down to Mojo Rawley versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Then he starts getting beaten up in the corner by Rowan. Harper tags in. Harper actually pulls Rowan off of Mojo Rawley, slaps him across the face, whips him into Mojo Rawley. They beat him pillar to post, and then with the weakest, and I mean weakest, tag team finisher I think I have ever seen. They both grab one arm of Mojo's, pull him up, and they call it a double power bomb, and just threw him down in the lightest fashion I have ever seen. I mean, I like the music. The music was great. I love that entrance. That was a great. I like the entrance music. That whole thing right there. That was great. The attire is it's to anyone's taste. The ferocity that they beat down the Hype Bros is also great. But the finisher needs to be changed. That was an awful finisher. There is a SmackDown Fallout here, so let's see what the Hype Bros had to say after the beatdown. I'm sorry, but like if they're going to have the Bludgeon Brothers be this unstoppable force, they need a new tag team finisher. Let's see what they have to say.
Great plan, bro. Great plan. Where was I? Where the hell were you when I had both of the Bludgeon Brothers by my damn side? You had them, bro. Yeah. Where the hell were you? Are we a team or not? Yeah, team. Get these guys out of here. Where you going, man? Huh? Get that camera out of here. Get that camera out of here. Broski, where the hell you going? You want to walk out on this team? Hey, man, I said get the hell out of here. What's wrong with you?
Will these two just break up already? First off, you have Zack Ryder coming out when they have their Hype Bros tag team matches in his singles attire and singles entrance attire. They're not even dressing the match anymore like they were when the Hype Bros actually were trying to get a tag team title match before Zack Ryder hurt himself flat earlier this year in January. So, will they just break this team up? WWE is going to break them up eventually. Just do it now. We don't need to see these guys just like wondering, are they going to break up? Or are they not going to break up? After we come back from commercial break, Natty is in the back interview saying the only change happening tonight is the title match. The title going to change hands tonight, making fun of Charlotte's father, saying he's going to cry. And so congratulating Charlotte for beating her because that was nearly impossible. Congratulating her for beating Alexa, but also saying that her cat, I don't remember the cat's name, could beat Alexa as well. So that hyped up the match for tonight. We do have one title match, but we thought we were going to have another one. AJ Styles is up next to call out Jinder Mahal for what we thought was going to be a title match, but things didn't go that way. Then AJ Styles, again, they had a hype package for the awesome match. If you have not seen AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, you need to go watch that match. Here's AJ.
SmackDown Live, this is the house that AJ Styles built.
They cut it out. I don't know why they didn't cut it. They cut it out. But before he starts talking about SmackDown, this is the house he built, he actually threw out the challenge that if Brock Lesnar wants to do this again, if he wants to wrestle him again, he's game and we can do it anytime, any place, anywhere. He didn't say it like that, but that's pretty much what he was saying.
And I'm a little salty. I'm a little salty because someone said they were going to take my championship away from me on SmackDown Live.
Yeah, we all thought that match was happening tonight, and I am so glad it's not. AJ Styles can make anybody look good, but I do not want to see Jinder Mahal wrestle for the WWE Championship again.
Jinder Mahal said he was going to take the championship away from me right here on SmackDown Live. And you know what?
Takes his jacket off, takes his title off, lays it down in the ring, takes his shirt off. AJ Styles ready to fight even after 2 days after getting that beating by Brock Lesnar.
All right, Jinder, this is my championship. I'm here, right now. Come down here and take it from me.
AJ, I'm up
AJ Styles in the ring, Jinder Mahal on the Titantron. Whoopee.
here. I'm up here, AJ. I come down there when I want. In fact, I'm too busy to come down to the ring right now because I'm watching your match against Brock Lesnar on the WWE Network over and over. And AJ, I thought you almost had it. But unfortunately for the WWE Universe, 2 weeks ago you took advantage of me at a time that I wasn't ready. I was busy preparing for the Beast. You took advantage of me in the middle of a European tour. Had I faced Brock Lesnar right now in that ring, I would be standing there being hailed as the Beast Master.
Jinder Mahal fumbling over his words. Guy can't even get through a promo without messing up.
You realize how stupid you sound?
AJ Styles saying the one thing that everybody in the WWE Universe who actually have a brain is thinking at that time when he said that.
I'll tell you what, you don't want to come down here right now? You sure? You seem well rested. You didn't do anything at Survivor Series.
Ooh, savage!
Listen, AJ, I get my rematch when I want on my time.
But you said at Survivor Series, because they did pan back to you from a comment you made before the match against him and Brock Lesnar, that you were going to take the title back tonight. So, Jinder, what changed? More like Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn. What changed? I don't know. But I'm glad we didn't see him poison our screens for more than just a few minutes.
I'm the man that brought dignity to that championship.
Give me a break.
I am the man that had 1.3 billion people of the great nation of India looking up.
Who the hell cares? India, yes, I'm not trying to diss India, but they don't pay the bills. India isn't big enough to be able to pay the bills to keep this company running. You were a failure. Jinder was a failure as a champion, and I hope at Clash he does not win the championship and he can go and be in catering, tasting Kevin Dunn's special wood on maple on log desserts.
To the modern day Maharaja. You're a disrespect. You're a disgrace to SmackDown Live.
No, Jinder, that was you.
We will clash, but at a place more deserving than Texas.
Oh, of course. The typical heel, like, oh, we're going to wrestle somewhere that's more deserving than where we're at right now. Where's Clash of Champions at?
I'll be invoking my rematch clause at the appropriately named pay-per-view. Clash of Champions.
And then the Singh brothers come out and attack. They are going to be in Boston for Clash of Champions this year. Do you really, does Vince McMahon really think Jinder Mahal is going to get any reaction there? More than he did right now with that, saying that Texas is, like, Boston is better than Texas. Of course, the Singh brothers come down, you know, start to beat down on AJ Styles, but AJ Styles fights back. Took one of the Singh brothers and just yanked him to the floor. He hit his head hard. Kicks the other one in the head as he tries to pull him into the ring. Kicks the one who's in the ring and puts him in the style, gets him set up for the Styles Clash. Looks over to Jinder, turns him straight towards Jinder so Jinder can watch straight on. And with intensity, AJ Styles hits a vicious Styles Clash. Holds up the WWE title. And that's the end of that segment. Now, before the main event, they did announce that next week AJ Styles will take on both Samira and Sunil in a handicap match. I hope he beats him at Clash of Champions and Jinder Mahal can be sent back packing. Jinder should lose, be sent packing, never seen again, down in catering, tasting Dunn's souffles and everything else. I don't want to see Jinder Mahal being WWE Champion again. Nobody wants to see Jinder Mahal as WWE Champion again. Period. Let's see here. Dana Owens in the back, trying to find somebody to help them tonight for the Lumberjack match. All of a sudden, you hear somebody singing, and of course, it's Aiden English singing about Rusev Day, and Zayn Owens trying to butter up to Rusev and Aiden English, telling about how they're French Canadians, they don't even care about the crap that is Thanksgiving, which is coming up this Thursday. And talking about how Shane McMahon doesn't care about his main assets, which of course he means those two and Rusev and Aiden English, which 3 of the 4, yes, Aiden English is, he's not there. I've never been a fan of the Aiden English singing gimmick, not even in WWE's NXT. When the best thing Aiden English ever did was when he was with Simon Gotch in the Vaudevillains, but that's neither here nor there. Just keeps buttering up, telling him how he's great and how they need, like, hopefully they'll think about it for later in the night. So they walk off. Next up is the only championship that ended up being defended tonight. Charlotte Flair versus Natty for the women's title. This match doesn't even matter because this match didn't have a good finish. Hopefully they have this in the clip about what happened. These two were having a match that was going back and forth. They would both get control. Charlotte would be... These two, you can tell, have great chemistry, and I mean angry chemistry. Good chemistry, though, but they always work well together, in my opinion, minus Hell in a Cell. Let me see something here. Okay, yeah. So, Natalya is down and out on the outside. All of a sudden, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan come out and beat down on Natalya. They beat on Natalya, then they beat down Charlotte Flair. All three hitting their finishers on Charlotte Flair. What is it with these factions now? We have two women's factions one on Raw, one on SmackDown, and the sad part is they're about the same. You have Liv Morgan and Mandy Rose are the hot blondes. Sarah Logan and Sonya Deville are the muscle, and Ruby Riott and Paige are the black-haired rockers, rocking girls, like grunge rocker girls. What the? So basically, there's been rumors for the last 3 months or so that WWE wants to do a Women's Royal Rumble this next year, and it looks like we're going to have that happen. We have about 20 some women on the SmackDown and Raw's rosters together now. So it looks like we're going to have a Women's Royal Rumble. And I guarantee you Vince McMahon is going to live to regret this decision to have this built up. Because this match will be a complete dumpster fire. Cage match, fine. Hell in a Cell, no. Elimination Chamber, no. Royal Rumble, hell no. Like, I don't mind women getting opportunities like better than what they did back when the Divas were a thing. But the Royal Rumble, you're just diminishing the Royal Rumble. Hell in a Cell took a hit last year with Charlotte and Sasha Banks, which I had high hopes that that match could be delivered. But I think Bayley and Sasha Banks would have probably been a better match for Hell in a Cell. But Bayley wasn't wasn't either up at that time or wasn't doing anything to warrant a match at the time. Anyway. So we have two women's factions on both shows, which will probably not like. I have a feeling that these two factions probably won't be around for a while. They'll just eventually just break off and just be there. So I had a problem with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Liv Morgan, no. Ruby Riott, I have no problem with. She's been in NXT. She's made a name for herself. She's had a nice role. She's had a couple championship matches against Asuka, and she's put on some good matches in NXT. Will she be a future champion? I don't know. The future for all five of these women from NXT who've come up are quite simple. Out of all five, I think Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan are the only two that are actually going to do anything on the WWE on the main roster. Liv Morgan and Mandy Rose. Last time we saw them in WWE's NXT, I don't know why I keep saying WWE's NXT, but the last time we saw them both in NXT, they were jobbers. WWE, do you really think that we forget what these two have been? They've been jobbers in NXT the last time we saw them. Sarah Logan as well, I believe, has been a jobber. And of course, she had a little bit more recently as being part of the Mae Young Classic. She's had a couple of good showings as well, but I don't understand why WWE wants to. They want to give women. They want to give women equality. Why do you want to give them a Royal Rumble? I don't know. The Royal Rumble is supposed to be special. The Royal Rumble is supposed to be special. Heck, Kurt Angle a couple months ago was talking about having a women's elimination chamber, and Raw's supposed to have the elimination chamber this year. The way they've been, if they go with the flip flopping of the pay-per-views as they have been, Raw should have the elimination chamber. So who are we gonna have be in that? Let me see: Bayley, Sasha, Alexa, and the other three. I don't care, but this is just too much. I don't mind seeing women come up, but where's Peyton Royce and Billie Kay? Where are the iconic duo? They, out of everybody who's been down, who should have came up from NXT, were more deserving than a Mandy Rose, or a Sonya Deville, or a Liv Morgan, or a Ruby Riott, or a Sarah Logan. Where are those two? What do they have left to do in NXT? Liv Morgan has been nothing but jobber material. Mandy Rose has been nothing but jobber material. Yeah, Sonya Deville's had a couple wins here and there, but her gimmick is awful. Yes, she has a little bit of MMA experience, but I guess they needed to bring her up because they're going to bring Shayna Baszler into NXT, and they don't want to have two MMA characters in NXT. But what happens when Shayna Baszler comes up to NXT, up to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live? She'll probably be put on SmackDown Live because they don't want to have the same gimmick on the same show. This is going to end up looking very, very bad. Why they want to do this is beyond me. It's going to come back to bite them in the end. Money in the Bank, except for the ending, wasn't a bad idea. I was more not happy with how the ending of the first one went, but that's fine. Money in the Bank, I'm fine with. Royal Rumble, no. No, 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 no. I don't want to see it. And if you're going to have a Royal Rumble, the only person that you can have win that match is Asuka. If you're going to have a women's Royal Rumble, and unless Asuka is the champion going into the Royal Rumble, she has to win the Royal Rumble. That is the only definitive answer you can have, is Asuka. Starting from number one, if you want to do a women's Royal Rumble, the only way you can make this work is you have Asuka start at number one, and she goes through everybody. She goes through everybody. Not this, starts at number one, gets beaten down, takes a nap for a bit. She goes through every single one of these women who come out. Of course, when Nia Jax comes out, she gets eliminated by everybody, and it's not just Asuka, but Asuka is the one who wins the Women's Royal Rumble if you're going to do one. Am I happy about this? Let's see what they do with these women, but I don't think they're going to do much at all. Both, it's like, well, we have a faction of women on one show, we gotta have a faction on the other. What? Whose idea was this? Yes, the Mae Young Classic happened in September, and beginning, like the end of August, beginning in all of September, most of September. They're going to have a couple women come from that, but I don't see why bringing Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville up helps out Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. When everyone except for Ruby Riott has been just there. They haven't been anything, really. And it's funny, too, because Sonya Deville and Ruby Riott have a match coming up, because they haven't been advertising it, unless they cut it from NXT this week, they're supposed to have a match on this week's show. So, they go from wrestling a match this past Saturday, for this Wednesday, to both coming up on Raw and SmackDown. I don't know what's going to happen next for these women, but I think they bloated the NXT, the women's division. Yes, it's a bigger division now, which is fine, I guess, but I think they should have brought up the ones who were more deserving. Yes, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay would have made a little bit more sense. I think it should have been Paige and the Iconic Duo. And then if you want to bring up these guys for SmackDown, at least the factions would have been a little bit different. But it is what they want to do. I can't tell them what to do. I'm only a guy who sits here and wants to have a lot of fun when watching SmackDown and Raw. And seeing what they've done with the women's division now just does not help it whatsoever. We come back from commercial. Daniel Bryan is being asked what's going to happen. Like, does he have any comment about what just happened in the women's title match? He has no comment. Owens and Zayn trying to suck up to Daniel Bryan, telling him firing him would be a mistake, and he just tells them good luck and walks up. And then we have the Lumberjack match, New Day versus Kevin Owens. The way the SmackDown announce team was talking about this, they made it sound like this was going to be a 3-on-2 handicap match. That was not the case. It was Zayn and Owens versus Big E and Kofi. Xavier Woods dressed as a lumberjack, which, if all you little kiddies out there didn't know, the original lumberjack matches, they always had them come out in the flannels, looking stupid as can be, but that's what they used to do back in the day. So that was a nice little throwback for lumberjack matches to see Xavier Woods bring that back for a minute. Zayn and Owens come out walking nice and slow, looking like we're about to get killed out here. These guys are about to come out here and whip us, beat us down, and make us regret what we did on Sunday and last Tuesday. Typical lumberjack match, and again, I mean, come on, they went back and forth, both teams, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and everything. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens end up getting a win in this match. Of course, the finish came when Sami Zayn gets thrown out of the ring, even though, like, for the entire match, the times that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens threw the Big E or Kofi out, nothing happened. They yelled at the Lumberjacks, do your job. Nothing happened. But of course, when Zayn and Owens came out, they got beat down, as you expected. But the finish came with Sami Zayn getting thrown out. I think someone was holding Sami Zayn, or Sami Zayn was getting up. Baron Corbin was getting ready to level him. Corbin misses because Sami Zayn moves. He hits Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode retaliates, and everybody breaks down, and most of the Lumberjacks get into the ring, beat each other up, everyone goes from in the ring to outside of the ring. The last thing you see is Xavier Woods knocking Mike Kanellis out of the ring, and Kevin Owens hitting and knocking Xavier Woods out of the ring. Kofi knocks out Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn with the cheap roll up. 1, 2, 3. Typical end to a typical lumberjack match. Again, does anybody ever remember seeing a good lumberjack match where stupid stuff doesn't end up happening? If there was one non-gimmick, steel cage type match that I would like to see retired, it's the lumberjack match. They are useless. They are the same thing as usual, especially when, and then of course the heels every time, and it's just the same thing over and over. It's typical. It's formulaic. It just every time they come out and it's like, oh, everybody in the back hates you. Everyone in the back wants to see you get your butt kicked. They go in the back. They try and beg. They go from place to place, begging and pleading for people to help them. And of course, the baby faces and some of the heels tell them, no, we're not going to help you. Why would we help you? And then, of course, by the end of the night, everything's all what it is. After the match, Sami Zayn gets the pin. Kevin Owens is outside the ring telling Sami, let's go, let's go, let's go. Big E, of course, is standing there in the way. Rusev comes out of nowhere, out of camera view, and levels Rusev. Kevin Owens gets away. I don't know what Sami Zayn was doing, but he tries to get away. Xavier Woods catches him after, of course, Kofi Kingston, if I'm correct, jumped off the top rope to take out Aiden English. Sami Zayn gets thrown back into the ring, beat down by the New Day, Shield style. Gets hit with the Midnight Hour and a couple other moves. He's laid out. He's on the ramp. He's like reeling from his injuries with the New Day. The New Day celebrating in the ring. We cut to the back. We have Kevin Owens running into Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan tells him he's pretty much Kevin Owens gets on his hands and knees begging not to be fired. Daniel Bryan, of course, says, I was never going to fire you. So, before we get into his announcement of what's going to happen next week, I want to know what Shane McMahon's going to say next week. Because Shane McMahon left, as you could call, expecting Daniel Bryan to come out and fire them after everything that happens in this match. But Daniel Bryan says, I was never going to fire you, and that next week I want you here to go a one-on-one with Randy Orton. Kevin Owens first says you can't. Daniel Bryan's like, I can't? And Owens was like, okay. And that was the end of SmackDown Live. So, nothing really much here for story progression as much, other than AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal will wrestle at the Clash of Champions for the SmackDown title, for the WWE Championship. I hope WWE does not get stupid and give Jinder Mahal the title. The whole point of Jinder Mahal having the championship for as long as he did was to get him to India as WWE Champion. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's not happening. That's not happening. The one night in India now, because it's not even a tour, it's a one-day layover for a Raw. By the way, it's a Raw house show in India. They're not coming to see Jinder Mahal. Nobody that's coming to see Jinder Mahal. They're coming to see the Shield because Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and the Golden Boy of India is Roman Reigns. You want somebody to build up India? Roman Reigns. We don't like Roman Reigns, but from what I've read, from what I've heard, Roman Reigns is beloved in India. So is Sasha Banks. So is Bayley. So is all these other people. They rather see all these superstars before Jinder Mahal. So instead of having him wrestle with the WWE Championship against Triple H, which I wouldn't have wanted to see if I was anybody, they're going to have Jinder Mahal versus Triple H, and nobody's going to care. I would love to see him come out during that show and get booed. hopefully when that tour date or whatever they want to call it happens, people post online videos of his entrance and he is just getting booed out of the building. I bet you, if WWE does it, they'll take the boos out and they'll put in cheers because Jinder Mahal is a failure. So the whole reason to give Jinder Mahal the title was to have him go to India as champion. That's not going to happen. So now we're not going to have. Hopefully, we won't see him win the title, and we can possibly see. I would rather see have the title match tonight. Have Jinder lose, and then have Rusev in the role to take on AJ Styles at Clash of Champions. I think Rusev, if given the proper time, could be a good opponent for AJ Styles because Rusev is 10 times the superstar that Jinder Mahal is. The fact that they gave Jinder Mahal the championship in the first place was a massive mistake. Does Vince McMahon get stupid, or does Vince McMahon actually see, well, we're done with him, but we have to give him his rematch clause. You have to give him his rematch clause. That's why Jinder Mahal is getting the title match at Clash of Champions. Is simply because in WWE's quote-unquote title match contracts, you have to have a rematch clause if you lose the title, unless of course they sign and they say there's no more rematch, which in case they didn't. But we have a few more weeks of this, and who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully Jinder is going to be done after this. We won't see him anymore, or if they want to, put him in the U.S. title hunt after Baron Corbin loses it to somebody, which who knows who he's going to go against. Possibly Bobby Roode, because that's what happened tonight. So, yes, they set up, for a fact, they did set up Bobby Roode versus Baron Corbin. That's going to happen at Clash of Champions. Roode wins the title at Clash of Champions. I'm calling that now. I'm calling that now. So when Bobby Roode at Clash of Champions wins the title, you can come back to this video and see that I predicted it. Bobby Roode will be your U.S. champion going into 2018. I'm hoping AJ Styles will be the WWE champion going into 2018. Let this man, who has put SmackDown Live on his back for the majority of this year, the WWE Championship run that he has earned. I do not like using the word deserve because nobody deserves anything. You earn what you do. As you hear that, Roman? You don't deserve anything. You earn what you do. You don't deserve. Nobody deserves anything. You have to earn it. AJ Styles has put SmackDown on his back and has been the only thing until Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens has started to actually be worth watching on SmackDown. His entire time as U.S. champion was the only thing that was really worth watching for the most part. Now, he's the WWE champion. Now, you need to make him the champion and give him the championship run that he has earned. Will he lose it to John? Will we have him go to WrestleMania and lose it to John Cena? I hope not. Give Shinsuke Nakamura the rub. Give Shinsuke Nakamura the championship match at WrestleMania. AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal will hopefully go to AJ Styles. AJ Styles carries the title into WrestleMania, and we have Shinsuke Nakamura win the title at WrestleMania one way or another. But that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I see that we got a like on the last episode on my Raw review. Let's get that up to 2 or more. I would like to see that. But until then, my name is The Frontz. Make sure to find me on Twitter at The Frontz and see me on twitch.tv at The Frontz08. I am there every day except for Saturdays. Sometimes Saturdays, but I'm not there on Sundays. Make sure to share this, and I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, noon, or night, wherever you're at the world, and I will see you guys later. Peace!